Hello and welcome to another edition of the First Pitch podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth. We got lots of baseball to get into, of course. And as always, starting with the news. The Mets are going to stick with a six-man rotation for the time being. That means they're opting to keep their promising rookies in the rotation. Jonah Tong, who made his debut yesterday. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And of course, Nolan McLean, who's come up and done really, really good things since his debut. They're going to be sticking around for a while. So they're going to keep six men in their rotation as the season comes to a close, meaning we're going to get more Jonah Tong and we are going to get more Nolan McLean from the Mets. Randy Rodriguez, reliever for the Giants, is going to undergo Tommy John surgery, which likely draws an end to his 2026 season as well. This leaves maybe some questions in the back end of that Giants bullpen. Ryan Walker is the guy who figures to get most of the late inning work for the time being. Maybe keep an eye on Jose Butto and maybe Joel Peguero. Both have been pretty decent. Both could be options for holds, some other late inning work, maybe if Walker's not available or if Walker struggles. One of them might be the guys that wind up taking over. But that bullpen and the back end of that bullpen specifically is going to be a big question for the Giants heading into the 2026 season. Nationals catcher Drew Milas received season-ending surgery on his left index finger. He is expected to be ready for the start of next season, at least, even for spring training, but the timing of the surgery means that he will not be available the rest of this season. Jordan Lawler is back in the majors for the Diamondbacks, as is Brandon Garcia, who they just received at the trade deadline. Pavin Smith heads to the IL. Taylor Rashi's option to Reno. Jordan Lawler, obviously the big one here. He was up earlier and didn't get regular playing time and did not perform very well. But again, that's kind of hard to do without regular playing time. So we'll have to see how this stint goes. There is a clearer picture for him to get playing time moving forward. So maybe this time around things will go better. He had his injury, and it's just been an injury-marred career for him. A lot of people thought that he would be up and contributing at the big league level by now, but that is not what has happened. Unfortunate career path for Jordan Lawler, but still young and is now back in the majors, hoping to make a bigger mark than he did before, where he hit somewhere in the 100s and again, irregular playing time. So we'll see what happens because he should be able to pull regular starts. He and Blaze Alexander, likely to hold down third base, almost auditioning for what's going to happen next year. Xander Bogaerts has a foot fracture heading to the 10-day IL. The Padres have recalled Mason McCoy to take his spot in their lineup, or at least on the roster. Bogaerts is most likely out for the rest of this regular season, could be back for postseason play. Doesn't help our fantasy lineups, but he is likely out for the rest of the regular season. Elbow issues flaring back up for Yimi Garcia, who's going to undergo season-ending elbow surgery. This is not Tommy John. This is fixing some scar tissue and stuff. He is expected to be ready for spring training. News came out for yesterday's podcast that the Cardinals were promoting Cesar Prieto. Along with him, they are also promoting prospect catcher Jimmy Crooks, with Yohel Pozo going on the 7-day concussion IL. Crooks hitting .274 with 14 home runs in AAA. He's kind of been a sneaky prospect for those who like to dig deep, especially just being at the catcher position. I'm a big fan of Crooks personally. I've seen him live a few times and have came away very impressed with his abilities. Very interested to see how things go for him at the big league level. Hopefully he can get some run and show what he can do. And wrapping up our news, Victor Robles is going to serve a suspension. The first game of that was yesterday. It was originally a 10-game suspension, but he didn't appeal, and it is now down to 7 games. So Victor Robles to miss 7 games for his suspension that started yesterday. So I guess 6 games now for those of us keeping count, which I certainly am. Moving on to some hitting highlights from yesterday's games. Dansby Swanson has 21 home runs on the year after hitting a pair of them in yesterday's games. He also added a triple against the Rockies. That's right, the Cubs in Coors Field. They seem to enjoy it. Ian Happ also went deep for his 17th, and Michael Busch has 26 home runs after going yard yesterday. He has bombs in back-to-back games now. So Michael Busch showing off some power over the last couple games. You know who else has also shown power over the last couple games? Yanquiel Fernandez, prospect outfielder for the Rockies. He now has bombs in back-to-back games. He has not been up very long, totaling 89 at-bats at the big league level. During that time, he's hitting 258 with a trio of home runs. So Fernandez settling in a little bit more, maybe. The average, not bad. The power output is what he was expected to provide. He now has 3 home runs, 2 of them coming across his last 2 games. Michael Garcia for the Royals continues to be just absolutely amazing this year. Hit a home run in yesterday's game. He's up to 14 on the year, hitting 297. He also has 22 steals to add to that, just doing everything you might want. And he is going to be an expensive guy in redraft leagues. And I mean, he's got to have played his way into a top 75 easy in dynasty leagues, dynasty asset, maybe even higher. I've seen people say maybe top 50. He's been so good, and it's hard to deny the output, especially for fantasy leagues, that he has had this year. How about Trent Grisham? Still a menace. Oh my gosh, went yard again. He has 3 home runs in as many games. He also picked up a steal in yesterday's games. Over his last 15 games, Trent Grisham hitting 271 with 7 home runs. And he has just been very good this year. One of those surprise players who's just putting together a great campaign. Edgar Caro, catcher for the White Sox in that catching tandem, Caro and Kyle Teal. Caro had 2 hits in yesterday's games, including a double. He's been really good during his rookie year. I mean, it's hard to deny that he's been good, hitting 285. Still 4 home runs on the year. His fantasy output's going to be limited unless he can get to some more of that power. Still very young. The fact that he's already hitting is a great sign for potential things to come, but he's going to have to find a way to get a little more power output to be in those fantasy discussions, so his fantasy value will match the real life value that he's providing. Unless you play in average leagues, hitting 285, not bad for average leagues. It doesn't walk a whole lot. It's right around 8% walk rate at the big league level this year. Yeah, doing very well though, and still very young. So definitely something to keep an eye on. How about the Mets? The Mets offense specifically. I mean, Jonah Tong debuted and the Mets offense was like, no, our spotlight. We're going to do this. They scored 19 runs. Juan Soto hit his 33rd home run of the year. Brandon Nimmo had a pair of home runs. He's up to 22 on the year. Pete Alonso makes it back-to-back games with a home run. Remember, he's kind of been on a slower power output over his last 15 games or so, but ramping back up a bit. 2 home runs in 2 games for him now. He's got 31 on the year. Mark Vientos and Luis Torrens also added home runs in that 19-run explosion by the Mets offense. Vientos has 14, Torrens 4 on the year. And wrapping up the hitters, Ke'Bryan Hayes has already surpassed his home run total that he had with Pittsburgh this year. He had 2 prior to the trade through 100 games. And in only 26 games with the Reds, he's hit 3 bombs and is hitting 241. Still not an offensive juggernaut by any means, but definitely enjoying this smaller field that is Great American Ballpark, as showing a bit more power. It was said all the time, maybe he just needs to lift the ball more. I mean, he definitely does, but I don't know if that's what's happening or if it's just a small ballpark. Time will tell. But Ke'Bryan Hayes showing a bit more pop so far in a Reds uniform. Moving on to some pitching. Christian Javier tossed 6 shutout innings against the Angels while striking out 6 and walking 3. Since his return, he has a 3.38 ERA with 16 strikeouts through 16 innings. Carlos Rodon turned in a good performance against the White Sox, striking out 5 over 6 innings, allowing just a run. On the other side of that matchup, I was really interested in Yoendrys Gomez and how he would fare against the Yankees. He had been very good leading up to this. Don't look at the line score against the Yankees, I guess, because that That's something else. He did give up 4 earned runs in 4 innings. So that is definitely one thing that happened for Gomez. But he struck out 6 batters and he only allowed 2 hits. A lot of the damage came because of his 6 walks. So when he has his command, he has the potential to shut down good lineups. He just did, well, would have against the Yankees, but those 6 walks just wound up killing him. And I know that's playing the what if game that we probably don't love to play, but that's kind of where it's at. He has good stuff. He can fight against good big league lineups. Just got to watch those walk rates. Not his best outing. Still, I think showed good signs of life. I'm still very much in on Yoendrys Gomez long term. Jonah Tong, that's right. Jonah Tong, one of the 2 pitchers making his MLB debut, the big prospects. Tong had a successful debut. He struck out 6 over 5 innings, allowing 1 earned run, 4 of them total. So 3 unearned runs came in on the day. You got to see his funky delivery. He comes basically over the top. He has to move his head out of the way just to throw the ball. There are a lot of comparisons to the mechanics, the throwing mechanics of Tim Lincecum. The delivery is not 100% Tim Lincecum, but there are some comparisons to be made. Anyway, good outing for Tong, and he is going to stick around with the Mets 6-man rotation. Paul Skeens struck out 6 over 6 innings against the Red Sox, allowing 1 earned run. He faced off against a debuting Peyton Tolley for the Red Sox, and Tolley, obviously, the fun one to talk about. We all know Paul Skeens is going to do good stuff. The Red Sox young starter looked as legit as they come. He struck out 8 over 5 1/3, allowing a pair of runs, but his fastball is something else. I mean, the swinging strike rate on that thing was crazy in the minors. It still looked that good or even better against big league hitters. So very good debut for him. Very promising debut for Peyton Tolley. Hey, Freddie Peralta is still super good. Informal greeting there. Yeah, he's good. He struck out 8 over 6 shutout innings, scattering just 1 hit and just 1 walk in his outing yesterday. So turns out dude can still pitch. In his second start for the Blue Jays, Shane Bieber threw 5 1/3, allowing a pair of runs while striking out 6. He's looked pretty good, only 2 outings, mind you, but he's looked pretty good since joining his new club, being traded at the deadline. Definitely what the Blue Jays were hoping to get thus far in his Toronto career. And wrapping up pitching, Zach Gallen struck out 8 over 6 shutout innings. Been a rough year for Gallen, but over his last 2 games, he's tossed 12 innings, allowing a single earned run, 15 strikeouts. And that's against Cincy. And this past outing, the 6 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts, was against the Dodgers. So he's doing it against some pretty good lineups. With that, I'm going to take a quick timeout. Once I return, we're going to talk a little bit of pitching matchups coming up today. Got a few names to throw out there. Appreciate you listening. This is the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. And welcome back to the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth. We've talked news. We've talked hitting highlights, pitching highlights. What do you say we talk pitching coming up in today's game? Starting off in Houston with Spencer Arrighetti taking on the Angels. Arrighetti kind of had a rough go of it since coming back from the injured list. Did look pretty good his last time out, 5 2/3 innings, a 2-run ball against Baltimore. He did only strike out 2, but he's got the Angels coming up today. A good matchup for him if he can look like he did against Baltimore, maybe tick up the strikeouts a little bit. I think he could be have a successful day at least to top off his season or to add to his season. Taj Bradley was roughed up by the White Sox in his Twins debut last time out. He's going to take another turn. We'll see if anything changes. Tougher matchup than the White Sox. He's got the Padres coming. We've seen Taj Bradley be very good. We've seen Taj Bradley be not so good. Hopefully, we see the good version of Taj Bradley. Maybe the Twins have tweaked something. We'll see how Bradley looks in his second time out. Trevor Rogers has had the magic this season. My gosh, he's going to be taking on Carson Seymour and the Giants. Rogers has a 1.40 ERA so far this year. Impossible not to want to watch him go to work with how he has been throwing this year. Mason Barnett for the Athletics is going to be making his MLB debut against the Rangers. He has 124 strikeouts and 119 innings in AAA this year. Don't pay too close attention to his 6.13 ERA. He is pitching in the PCL. That is a hitter-friendly environment. So the ERA is not as concerning to me. Good to see that he is getting swings and misses, though. So Mason Barnett, definitely one to watch going up against the Rangers. We'll see how he fares, assuming the strikeouts can still be there. And finally, the matchup of the day, Logan Gilbert versus Gavin Williams. I don't have a whole lot of numbers to throw at you with this one. Those are just two of my favorite pitchers that we got going. Gilbert's obviously very good. Williams has been great this year. And this matchup of the day is just one that I'm definitely going to watch. Gilbert versus Williams. That should be a fun one. With that, I will see you guys tomorrow. This has been another edition of the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List.